Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today. We're going to dive right in because today we are unpacking something you literally interact with almost every single day, probably without even realizing the massive invisible machinery behind it. We're talking about food labels. But hey, we're not just going to sit here and read a nutrition facts panel together. Oh no. We are looking at food labeling as a massive, dynamic ecosystem. It is this fascinating, high-stakes intersection where everyday consumers, strict government regulations, and massive food industry marketing strategies all collide.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, decoding your food labels. Second, Malaysia's food regulations. Third, how the industry actually benefits. Fourth, specific label requirements. And finally, making better food choices.
Section 1. Decoding your food labels.
Let's set the scene right where this matters most, standing right in the middle of your everyday grocery store aisle. I mean, think about the last time you picked up a can of soda or a box of cereal, flipped it around, and just stared at that black and white grid of text on the back, right? It's a completely universal consumer experience. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder, why is this specific info here? Who decides what it says, what font size it has to be, and what words are absolutely forbidden? You know, we get information from friends, family, the media, but from a public health point of view, that little label is genuinely one of the most powerful tools available to guide our choices.
So, the really crucial thing to understand here is that there are actually two very distinct types of information fighting for your attention on that package. On one side, we have nutrition labeling. This is the factual data, the hard numbers about calories, fats, carbs, and proteins, the objective reality of what's inside the food. On the flip side, we have nutrition and health claims. These are those bold, flashy statements you see right on the front of the box, like high in calcium or low fat. It is absolutely essential to ensure that both the hard facts and those bold claims are 100% accurate and truthful. And that brings us to the folks who actually enforce that truth.
Which leads us to Section 2, Malaysia's food regulations. To really get this ecosystem, we've got to meet the referee, the Ministry of Health Malaysia. If we look at the regulatory timeline, we can see exactly how these consumer protections came to be, because they definitely didn't happen overnight. The whole thing started way back with the Food Act of 1983, and that was followed closely by the Food Regulations of 1985. But as science advanced and marketing got a lot more sophisticated, the Ministry of Health recognized a super critical need for more effective regulations, specifically when it came to nutrition labels and health claims. So they gazetted major amendments in 2003. They gave the industry a grace period to adapt, and then full enforcement officially kicked off in July 2005. So these aren't just dry, boring bureaucratic dates. This is a calculated, step-by-step public health strategy rolling out over decades.
You can really see this evolution clearly. We started with the foundational text of the 1983 Act, and now we have these highly detailed, modern 2023 guidelines. The Ministry of Health didn't just, write the laws and walk away. They created comprehensive guidebooks to help both the industry manufacturers and the enforcement officers understand the really fine nuances of these new rules. The whole goal was to enable manufacturers to describe their food factually and informatively, basically turning that label into a rock-solid, reliable tool for you, the consumer.
Let's move on to Section 3, how the industry benefits.
Okay, we have arrived at the aha moment of our explainer. A lot of times, we assume strict regulations are just this heavy, annoying burden that food companies absolutely hate. But let's flip that script. There are actually 5 massive benefits for the food industry here. Let's call it the Rule of 5. First up, standardized labels provide an incredible on-the-spot communication tool right at the point of sale. Second, they enhance the product profile, letting companies clearly differentiate their healthy items from the competition. Third, these permitted claims act as a legitimate springboard for major sales and marketing campaigns. Fourth, it dramatically increases international trade opportunities. And fifth, it financially encourages the production of genuinely more nutritious products. It's a total win-win. By playing by the rules, the industry actually wins big.
Let's zoom in on benefit number 4 for a second, international trade. This is a total game changer. You see, as more and more countries around the world adopt strict regulations for nutrition labeling, the barrier to entry into those global markets gets higher. But by adopting mandatory, standardized nutrition labeling for a wide variety of products right at home in Malaysia, these local products suddenly have increased trade opportunities and much greater acceptability globally. So the regulation isn't holding them back at all. It's literally giving them a passport to sell their goods anywhere in the world. And I just love this quote from our source material regarding that 5th benefit. It says, "Nutrition labeling is a powerful way for the food industry to contribute actively to the promotion of a healthy lifestyle." Think about it. The Ministry of Health has spent years running campaigns about diet-related chronic diseases, things like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. And because of that, consumers are just way more health conscious today. The industry realizes that if they want to survive and thrive, they absolutely have to cater to this new, educated breed of consumers. Providing a highly nutritious product with a government-compliant label to back it up, that is just brilliant business.
Let's ground all this legal theory in the real world. Just look at these highly recognizable products. Your Coca-Cola, Oreo, Milo, Dutch Lady Milk. These brands aren't just blindly slapping mandatory labels on their packaging because they have to. They are actively utilizing these regulations for market advantage. Notice how the milk highlights low-fat, high-calcium. Or notice how the Milo packaging specifically calls out its energy and nutrition benefits. They're using the exact, precise language permitted by the regulations as a powerful springboard to strike a chord with consumers who are increasingly careful about their diets.
Next up, Section 4, Specific Label Requirements. I want to show you just how incredibly granular the government gets when they dictate what goes on these labels. A super crucial point here is something called product designation. Now, this isn't just a catchy brand name. This is the regulation-specified name of the food itself. And the rules here are incredibly strict to prevent deceptive marketing. For instance, the guidelines specifically state that the words mixed or blended shall not be conjoined with the product designation. Why? Well, because the government wants to make absolutely sure you know exactly what the core product is, without any confusing terminology designed to mask lower quality ingredients or mislead you about what you're actually putting in your body.
And look at this incredibly important cultural and religious requirement. There are mandatory statements that absolutely must be declared prominently on the packaging. Specifically, the presence of pork and the presence of alcohol must be stated directly under the product designation. And it goes further than that. This info has to be placed on the portion of the package label that is most likely to be seen by the consumer at the time of purchase. They cannot just hide this in the fine print on the bottom of the box. No way. It is a strict, non-negotiable measure to protect consumer dietary restrictions and religious practices.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Making Better Food Choices.
We've talked a lot about the laws, the government enforcement, and the industry's marketing strategies, but let's shift the focus back to you. Ultimately, this entire complex ecosystem exists for one singular purpose: to assist you, the consumer, in adopting healthy dietary practices. The nutrition information on those labels is your absolute best tool for making informed food choices when you're planning your daily meals. By understanding the difference between the hard, factual data on the back and the flashy health claims on the front, and by knowing that these statements are heavily regulated for accuracy, you take the power back. You are no longer just a passive target for advertising, right? You are an informed participant in your own health.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. The very next time you're standing in that grocery store aisle holding a box in your hands, what are you going to look for on the label? Will you fall for the flashy claim on the front, or will you flip it over and verify the facts on the back? The rule book has been written for you. Now it's your turn to use it. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and keep asking questions.